friendship by meeting in hotels is not a walk in the park. Soon Dolly shifted the location of their meet-up from hotel rooms to her own bedroom, alarming the neighbours. The nosy ones kept probing about a new boy they had seen hanging around for quite a while. Dolly coined a lie and shushed the neighbourhood by labelling Otto as her vagabond half-brother. Dolly knew that labelling Otto as her half-brother would not keep their secret for long enough. Instead of relying on this weak argument, she devised a plan, giving Otto a residence in her attic. By living in the household, Otto would never be caught going in or coming out, protecting them both from the misery of shame. Interestingly, blinded by the fold of love, Otto agreed on Dolly's offer and ended up quitting his job. The boy, without a family, embraced a new life of hiding in Dolly's house with happiness. The new arrangement was not easy. It meant Otto could never avail of the option of leaving the attic. Adapting his new lifestyle, Otto stayed there with satisfaction, spending his time writing fiction stories, hoping to get them published one day. The Los Angeles Times stated, "At night he read mysteries by candlelight and wrote stories of adventure and lust. By day he made love to Dolly, helped her keep house, and made bathtub gin." A relation which seems at least extremely hard to pull even for 5 days, which surprisingly continued in a very way for 5 years. Otto lived in that cramped attic just for Dolly. In 1918, their planned success was at stake, as Fred proposed to sell the house and move to Los Angeles. Before matters could thread into complications, Dolly found an alternative house. She suggested Fred shift into a place overlooking Sunset Boulevard. Dolly secured accomplishment in her second round of hideout planning, sending Otto early to occupy the residence's attic. Otto waited in the attic of her new house until Dolly arrived. The madness continued for another 4 years. Dolly and Otto continued with their previous lifestyles. Duration could have been for more than 4 years if the sensitive Otto wouldn't have stormed in front of Fred. On August the 22nd, 1922, Otto overheard the fighting scene between husband and wife. Raging with anger, Otto burst into the room, witnessed the couple's quarrel through his eyes, and brandished 2 pistols. Upon recognising Otto to his factory worker, Fred lost his temper. The result of this fight was that Fred got shot. Witnessing the scene, Dolly and Otto panicked. Otto didn't seem as naive as one might think he was, for he locked Dolly in the closet, only to save her. By locking the closet from outside and taking the guns, keys, and everything that was inside with him, the guy returned to his attic, creating a scenario that a locked-up lady could not shoot her husband. Gunshots were reported and the police arrived. Dolly, clever enough to understand Otto's planning, became an away for long hours, leaving Dolly all by herself, which he didn't know was very dangerous. Dolly was all by herself, and now it is not hard to guess. There was the entry of Dolly's third lover, Roy Clum. If you are wondering where Otto was all the while, he was in the attic with his typewriter. Dolly needed to get rid of the guns with which Fred was shot. By giving the reason for guns resembling burglar ones, Dolly asked her third lover to dispose of them. Getting fooled by the excuse, Clum tossed the guns in the Libera tar pits. Dolly didn't think of long term. Thus, upon the break-up with Clum, he swerved the matters into an ugly path. He went to the police station, revealing Dolly's gun to be hidden in the tar pit, and Dolly got arrested. What Clum didn't think of was corrosion. The corroded gun could not prove Dolly guilty. All this happened while Otto was still in the attic, lost in his fiction world. Introducing Otto as her vagabond brother, Dolly pleaded with Shapiro to get groceries for him in the attic and convey that he should come out. Interestingly, Otto didn't quite like the sight of another man, thus he spilled the beans of his actual relationship with Dolly. Shapiro didn't take Otto seriously, or rather, he cared a lot less about Dolly keeping a boy in her attic for years. As a lawyer, Shapiro took measures to get Dolly out, helping her lift all the charges against her. Why did he do this? Well, because 7 years later, Shapiro could not tolerate her. He not only moved out of the house, but also resorted to the police station, giving them evidence against Dolly for Fred's murder. Poor Dolly landed up again in the police station, but that time Otto got arrested too, as both of them were involved. The jury found Otto guilty of manslaughter, though the defence kept protesting about his enslavement. The whole trial became famous as a battle